Neither Better Trades or any of its personnel are registered broker-dealers or investment advisors. I will mention that I consider certain securities or positions to be good candidates for the types of strategies we are discussing or illustrating. Because I consider the securities or positions appropriate to the discussion or for illustration purposes does not mean that I'm telling you to trade the strategies or securities. Keep in mind that we are not providing you with recommendations or personalized advice about your trading activities. The information we are providing is not tailored to any particular individual. Any mention of a particular security is not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold that or any other security or a suggestion that it is suitable for any specific person. Keep in mind that all trading involves a risk of loss, and this will always be the situation regardless of whether we are discussing strategies that are intended to limit risk. Also, Better Trades personnel are not subject to trading restrictions. I and others at Better Trades could have a position in a security or initiate a position in a security at any time.
Hello, and welcome out to another Insights. We're going to do the big guys. And before we get started, like we usually do, always do actually, I think I've skipped it in a long time, start off with a little quote, and I found this one just this morning, and I love it. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. I think that's probably an understatement, being halfway. I think just belief, pure belief, period, is 90% of the battle. Just knowing that you're capable, knowing that you can do it, and believing that you can puts you most of the way there, in my opinion. So I love the quote. I just think it's a little understated. So with that, let's get right to the charts. And we've got a few less. I mean, it's earnings season, so we're a little thinner than we normally would be, part of it because of a lot of them. Several of them got booted out because of earnings coming up. But the funny thing is that I left a few of them on there that have earnings either in the next day or two or maybe a week away because they still look decent or they could be good after earnings. So not every one of them gets kicked out because of earnings, but it is a little thinner because there were several that were skipped. So we're looking at ACN, Accenture, and look at a longer-term picture. There we go. We're just coming off an all-time high, so these aren't always the most exciting to me because the trend is we're working against the trend here, which I try not to do, but sometimes it makes sense. And what we have is the beginnings of a double top. We're at the very edge, the very starting edge of a double top. It hasn't confirmed, and it won't confirm until it breaks the midpoint there about 111. So, but there is possibly an opportunity here. Not my favorite one on here, but it could provide a decent downside play. And the reality is that this could be spectacular. I mean, if things really get nasty and the market really tanks, that's a big if at this point, because right now things look fairly bullish actually. This could present a huge opportunity, but it's a long shot. So that's why I'm not terribly excited about it. There may be an opportunity here for just a little move. A 5-point move here is what we're looking for. So we will see. We'll see. Allstate, big move today. I would have thought that'd be earnings. In fact, you know what? I just realized I meant to go verify this to see that today wasn't earnings, and this is wrong. That 5.3 is coming out. So I'm not sure exactly why it gapped so much today. But regardless, we've got a head and shoulders that just got confirmed with today's move. Whether it was earnings and I just missed that, didn't see it, and this is wrong, whatever the case, it made a big move. Nice little head and shoulders into play. Big increase in volume. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. If it doesn't gap down, then there may be opportunity here still. So Comcast. This has been on the radar for a little while here with that downtrend in play. You see it broke out of it, and it's only been above there for 2-3 weeks. And then we had a big bearish engulfing pattern yesterday, and today it continued down only a little bit, left a little long lower shadow. But we've had a pretty sizable increase in volume to the downside the last couple days. So and this is pre-earnings. This one's one we have earnings about a week away. So have to be aware of that, but there still may be decent opportunity here, I think. So we'll see what happens in the next day or two. DLR, same thing. We got a little bit bearish engulfing pattern about a week ago, and then a falling through methods, kind of. It's not technically a falling through methods because that's a continuation pattern, and there's really no trend in play to continue. A one-day bearish engulfing pattern is not a bearish trend. So that being said, I still recognize the pattern, and if the conditions are right, treat it as such, but just don't put as much validity in it. And you can see indicators all looking very bearish. We've got earnings coming up, but the fact that we've got some bearish move is a good-looking sign. So we'll see what happens there with DLR. Electronic Arts. Another one we've got downtrend in play that has kind of sort of broken out, and it's only been above there for a week or two. So we don't have anything yet confirming, but what we have the beginnings of is the possibility of a rising 3. So it broke out with pretty decent volume, a week ago, of the downtrend. Even though it didn't really break out in a huge way, it did. I mean, it opened up on the line and then rallied. Usually we like to see it actually break. I mean, like middle of the day, like break through it, like travel through it. I know it's hard to explain, I guess, but it's not a huge difference. But I would just see a break through, say, in the middle of the candle rather than, a little tiny gap opening above it and dropping off a little bit and then rallying for the day, even though it did it with big volume. I would have seen it another way, a little bit stronger. So, but we'll see. I mean, this might present a decent play to the upside. So it's got the big move to the upside, then 4 days of sideways. So if it takes off and runs and the market stays bullish, then we'll run with it. So EMR, I keep making sure that this recorder is going. Another kind of beginnings of a double top. Bearish engulfing pattern yesterday, and then a stall out today. Not a whole lot of volume. Not terribly exciting. Another one like the other one that's not terribly exciting. Indicators are starting to look bearish. So just like, what was it? Was it ACN or Allstate? I don't remember which one of those two, but we had a double top in play, the beginnings of it, at the very opening of it. It could drop. I mean, this could drop all the way down to 42 in the next 2-3 months if we get a big move in the market to the downside. If not, we got, a couple bucks of potential there. So, again, another one like that, not terribly exciting. EQR, interesting. We've got EMR, EQR, and then EQT. They got confusing when I started punching them into the spreadsheet. And it was like, wait a minute. Huh? Wait. I had to double check it about 8 times. I guess it's not really double checking it 8 times, is it? Here's another one. We have kind of a falling 3 methods. But what we've got is some bearishness, some pretty serious bearish move to the downside. So, and just looking for about a $2.5 drop if it breaks down to that 69.20. There's one of the challenges, though. We have earnings in just a few days. So even though I like the looks of this because we have the bearish trend in play for the last couple weeks, there is the earnings to contend with. So not terribly exciting again. We got some on here that I think look great and other ones that not so much. Now EQT. Bearish engulfing pattern today. Earnings is, I'm not sure if that is today. This is another one I forgot to go verify, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. This is one of those that I think still looks good. We got the bearish engulfing. And if earnings is coming out today after the market, which is the only thing that makes sense, then we'll see what tomorrow brings. So if it moves to the downside, then we'll have to figure it out from there. So moving on to Kite Pharmaceutical. This has been interesting. It's popped up on the radar a bunch. You can see it's gone from basically 85 to 40 fairly quickly. So it is highly volatile. It has building a nice little base here. We've got the beginnings of a move to the upside. We've got higher lows. Well, we don't have higher highs yet. We've got the same high. So this may have some potential to the upside. And some of the pharmaceuticals have been getting bullish the last few weeks, pretty significantly bullish. So there could be a safety play, safety move into the pharmaceuticals, biotechs. So Kite might be part of that. If the rest of the market looks like it's going to sell off, which is possible, that's what's so weird. The last several weeks, that's what's happened. It looks like it wants to sell off, but it just keeps on slowly marching ahead, upward. It's kind of confusing. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, but at the same time, it is what it is. The market, a lot of times, doesn't make sense. So we just have to go with what we have and what we can see. And you can see indicators are fairly bullish as of right now. So Kite looks like it may be a decent opportunity. LRCX, Lam Research. Not quite a bearish engulfing pattern, but pretty close. We had a hangman after a sideways move in the last 3 weeks or so, beginnings of a double top, and accelerated volume the last couple days. And we've already had earnings pass. So this one's challenging, though, in the sense that it's already beyond the entry point, partly because of the placement of the stop, which I put above the high of a few weeks ago, but not quite above the high of today. So we need this one to bounce back up a little bit before the entry points hit. So I don't necessarily like that, but it happens sometimes, and it is what it is. So LYB, beautiful shooting star after Harami yesterday. Supposedly earnings is out tomorrow, so not sure if that move is due to that or not, but it looks like if it breaks back to the downside, it looks like it could be a good play. Now it's fairly simple. Mead. Another one, bearish engulfing pattern. There is the falling through methods type of pattern there, but again, it comes after a sideways move, which that is a continuation pattern. So typically we want to see that after a downward move or during a downtrend. If it came in somewhere over here, that'd be one thing, but coming in after an upward, bullish move over the last 2-3 months, then sideways, doesn't have as much validity. I still see the pattern, recognize it, but don't put as much emphasis on it. So really what I'm looking at here is the big gap and kind of not really a double top, but it looks like it's slowing down. It's forming a bit of a topping pattern. So with earnings coming up, though, in a week, this could be one of those. This was the first time I've thought of that in at least a couple of quarters, where if we were to jump on this thing and it takes off to the downside before earnings, then possibly take out all of the initial capital and maybe leave a piece or two there. I know I was talking about, I tried to play with that, and it's still I still fantasize about it, thinking it'd be cool if I could get it to work, but I haven't gotten it to work consistently, and that's really the trick. So, I mean, they've worked here and there, but consistency is the key in this business. So, last but not least, Sealed Air, paper packaging, bearish engulfing pattern, not a whole lot of volume. Earnings is coming up in a week, and it's already beyond the entry point. Could probably adjust that down a little bit, but I put the stop up there far enough that we've got the wiggle room there. So we'll wait and see if this one produces any kind of entry point. I have a feeling it won't. I'm not sure why, but just doesn't seem like it will. So with that being said, with the big guys, not much else to say. That's pretty much it. So again, still kind of slow right now until the market decides to do something exciting. So just kind of back and forth, not too much going on. So y'all have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.